Today I want to cover something a little different. I don't think anyone would have noticed while watching my devlogs. Or I guess some of you might have if you're observant. It may be a bit of a surprise, but this little game is going to have a server. It's just going to be a simple web server, but it'll be the very core of this game, and this is most of what I've been working on recently. So today's video is gonna be about the game server. I should first start this topic with why I'm adding server to this little tiny game. And this goes all the way back to what my initial goals were when I first started this project. One of those goals I set up was to learn a lot through its process, so this leads to not always looking for the easiest way to make something, but rather looking for troublesome ways to achieve the same result. This really is one heck of an inefficient way to do anything, because almost all of this game can be made without any server backing it up. But I know there are advantages of having a server, and I thought there was a lot to be learned from trying to achieve those advantages. I started off my game dev career as a server programmer, and at that time, I was provided with a server framework so that I can worry about nothing, but only the actual game logic. Though I'm still pretty much a junior programmer, with this project, I'm building my server from scratch with the raw materials that I handpicked myself. This throws new challenges like different programming language, different database, different code structures, and more. And actually, along with the art, this is one of the main reasons for this project to take so long. Making a server itself was bound to take up a lot of time, but learning and tackling these challenges as well costed more time to do pretty much everything. So this goal to learn was like a double-edged sword in a sense, knowledge and trade for time, though this time edge that's facing me seemed to be a little sharper. But this is something that I'm willing to take with me till the end. Of course, learning was not the only reason. I wanted to have my own game server framework that I could maybe work with later in the future. I also didn't like my game to be vulnerable to hacks or cheats, and I know having a server definitely prevents that a little. Someone I knew also tipped me off about Firebase, and I was immediately fascinated by it, and so I wanted to utilize it in my game somehow as well. Wanted to have the flexibility to dynamically change data, and there are just so many more reasons to set up a server. Or it could be just me wanting to come up with excuses because I want to have a server in this game. I'm pretty sure most of you know where I'm coming from. I mean, we all had good excuses for a shiny new toy in our childhood, right? So this could be just that. There are disadvantages to consider, however. Mainly it's to do with the maintenance cost. I'm planning on using a number of cloud services to host my server and store game data, and there are various fees that follows which I can't just ignore. I had to squeeze my brain out and structure my code so that my server doesn't mindlessly use these services more than it needs to, and hopefully save some money. I never planned this game to be supported with huge budget, but rather making a costless serverful game was like a side quest that I always had in mind. And even though I've done tons of research, I'm still not so confident that I can achieve this. But if in the end, if the maintenance cost gets out of my hands, I'll eventually have to drop off the implemented cloud services and run the server on this old computer that I always do my work on. Either way, it's gonna be a fun experience, and I'm really looking forward to it. Along with the game server, there's one other program that I'd like to introduce, and its name is Theratool. I see this file as a little cousin that always follows my game server around. I'm using Google Spreadsheet to enter in and change data. And while I could just get my game server to read data directly from the spreadsheet and get it to do its work, but most of you might know this already, there's gotta be this separation between working development data and live game data. You don't want any mistakes you made in your test data to affect the users who are playing your live game. What my data tool does is it reads these data that I've been fiddling around with in spreadsheets, it passes them into suitable form, and pushes them back into database for my game server to read. It also does a little bit of data validation. So let's say I want to add an item to the game. I just enter in this item data and run the data tool. It would say it's done. I restart my server and when I run my game, just like that, we updated this game with a new item. Right now it looks easy, but lately I realized just how hard working with these datas are. We entered in a random nonsense data just now, but when the game launches, all these temporary data will need to be replaced with thoughtful descriptions and balanced stats. I definitely took this work too lightly, and just imagining how much data will be needed considering my game is text-based game is giving me headache already. My respect to all the game designers out there. I will talk more about these data in the next video, as well as any other things that I talked about today. If I was to put everything about the server in a single one, I thought I would end up with like 20-minute video. I intentionally didn't get too technical today, all those will belong to the next one. So I'm gonna be very careful about what I talk about in the next devlog, because I'm guessing some information could maybe become a good hint for possible future hackers. Thank you guys as always for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.